One of the allegations was that Diddy had with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Immediately, people identified the rapper as Meek Mill.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
So, imagine this one of the most famous rappers in the world, Nicki Minaj, finds herself caught in the middle of a massive scandal involving two other huge names in the industry, Meek Mill and Diddy. But we're not just talking about your run-of-the-mill drama here. This one has it all: secret recordings, leaked audio, shady behavior, and even a threat to Nicki's life. Yeah, you heard that right. Nicki herself recently hinted that someone might have tried to take her out. And this isn't just speculation, it's tied to some major skeletons in the closet. Let's dive into what could be one of the wildest stories in the world of hip-hop. And trust us, it's one you don't want to miss.
Nicki put that out there. That Nicki recorded that at the free call.
Now, this story starts with an alleged tape involving Meek Mill and Diddy, and what's on this tape is nothing short of jaw-dropping. According to rumors, this explicit tape captures Meek and Diddy at one of Diddy's notorious private parties, and let's just say it paints them in a very compromising light. We're talking about a side of these celebs that nobody expected to see. And who's behind the leak? Allegedly, it's none other than Nicki Minaj. Nicki was apparently sitting on this bombshell for quite some time, just waiting for the right moment to drop it. Why, you ask? Well, it turns out Nicki has been tied to both these guys. Meek was her boyfriend, and Diddy once managed her early in her career. The connection goes deep, and when you think about it, Nicki keeps Simone been in the perfect position to know all the dirty details. But leaking a tape like this comes with serious consequences, especially when you're dealing with someone as powerful as Diddy. Rumor has it that after the tape came out, Nicki's life was in danger. She even revealed that someone had been paid to poison her. Yes, poison. And though she didn't say who, the timing of everything suggests it's all connected to the scandal.
Behind the scenes, of course, wishing it never happened. Even prior to it happening, I tried to stop it from happening.
This isn't just some random theory, either. Nicki went on a Twitter rant where she pretty much spilled all the tea about how someone close to her had received money to tamper with her food. She stopped short of naming names, but the implications were clear. Nicki was in danger, and it was because she knew too much. She even posted a photo of a takeout order with a note that said, "We love you," Barb scrawled across the bag, and called the whole situation odd. But come on, we all know that Nicki isn't one to stay quiet for long. And this was her way of telling the world that something shady was going on behind the scenes.
She been waiting to drop that shit on Meek. She just wasn't gonna tell nobody it was Diddy. But now that Diddy out there.
Let's back up a bit and talk about the history here, especially Nicki's relationship with Diddy and Meek. So way back when Nicki was first blowing up. She was actually managed by Diddy, for about 6 months. Diddy was the one pulling the strings behind her career. But of course, things didn't go smoothly. Nicki fired him, reportedly because she didn't want to get tangled up in Diddy's wild private lifestyle. This is important because it sets the stage for what happens next. If anyone knows Diddy's secrets, it's Nicki. And there's no telling what she saw or heard during those early days. Fast forward to Nicki's relationship with Meek Mill, the two dated for about 2 years, from 2015 to 2017, and they were one of hip-hop's hottest couples at the time. But as we now know, all wasn't as perfect as it seemed. Rumors of Meek's involvement in Diddy's infamous private party started to surface, and these rumors eventually led to Meek being exposed in a lawsuit filed by Producer Law. The lawsuit dropped some heavy hints, describing a Philadelphia rapper who had been involved in some wild stuff at one of Diddy's parties. You don't need to be a detective to figure out who that was pointing to Meek Mill. The lawsuit didn't stop there, though. It also mentioned another major name, Usher, who was said to be a part of these gatherings as well.
A dope rapper, but I think sometimes Meek falls victim to, I have to explain myself because they be playing with my name. And the more he responds, the more they keep playing with his name.
At this point, Meek Mill's image was taking a serious hit. And as if things couldn't get worse, an audio recording surfaced, allegedly capturing Meek in a very compromising situation with Diddy. This recording was supposedly made during one of Diddy's private parties. And according to those who've heard it, it's pretty graphic. The audio is said to feature Meek literally screaming in pain, and the sounds of Diddy's actions were anything but subtle. To make matters worse, word on the street is that Nicki herself recorded this tape while she was still dating Meek talk about a plot twist.
Everybody was passed out. Yo, Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive.
If this sounds unbelievable, it gets even crazier. According to Jaguar Wright, a singer who has become notorious for spilling behind-the-scenes industry dirt, Nicki paid off one of Diddy's ex-bodyguards to take the fall for leaking the tape. Jaguar went on record saying that Nicki had the tape all along but was waiting for the right time to drop it. She even went as far as revealing the location where the party and the tape recording took place. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Nicki and Meek's relationship ended on pretty bad terms, and this tape could have been Nicki's way of getting the ultimate revenge.
Nicki put that out there. That Nicki recorded that at the free call.
But Nicki didn't stop at just leaking the tape. She's been dropping hints for years that many of the men in the industry are hiding secrets. Back in 2019, When people were criticizing her for marrying Kenneth Petty, she fired back by saying she would never date another rapper because, according to her, many of them are secretly living double lives. She didn't name names at the time, but in light of everything that's happened with Meek and Diddy, it's pretty clear who she was talking about. Even more recently, in a live stream with Soulja Boy, Nicki openly asked him about undercover brothers in the industry. Soulja Boy tried to brush it off, but Nicki made it clear that she knew what was up. It's almost as if she was waiting for someone to expose Meek without having to do it herself.
That was the first time I was like, oh my God, like, I can't take it. Like, 'cause she...
And here's where things take another turn. Nicki had been planning to release a documentary on HBO Max that was supposed to detail her entire career from the early days up until now. This documentary was going to include all kinds of behind the scenes stories, including what really happened with her relationship with Meek and her fallout with Diddy. But guess what? The documentary was shut down before it even had a chance to air, thanks to a cease and desist from both Meek and Diddy they were clearly worried about. What Nicki was going to reveal, and they moved fast to make sure none of that footage ever saw the light of day. Despite their efforts to silence her, Nicki wasn't done talking. She's continued to hint at the darker side of the industry, and with everything that's come out about Diddy in recent months, it's clear that there's a lot more to this story than what we're seeing on the surface. After all, Diddy has been hit with multiple allegations lately, and while some of them have been dismissed or settled out of court, it's hard to ignore the growing number of accusations.
There has been some updates in the Diddy $100 million default judgment that we reported on earlier this week.
So where does this leave Nicki now? Well, after the alleged poisoning attempt, she's understandably been more cautious. She even said in a tweet that she doesn't feel safe ordering food anymore because she's worried about what might be done to it. And who can blame her? If someone is willing to go that far to keep her quiet, it's a clear sign that she knows something big. Fans are also picking up on this, with some even suggesting that Nicki should record everything she knows and give it to the authorities, just in case something happens to her. One fan wrote, Nicki should record a video of what she knows and send it to every news outlet and everyone she trusts. So if anything happens to her, the FBI will have a clue. Another fan added, I don't know how fame and money could make any of this worthwhile. It's so gross on every level, totally creepy really for fame and money. And honestly, they're not wrong. When you look at everything that's been happening, from the leaked tapes to the poisoning attempt, it makes you wonder just how deep this whole thing goes. At the heart of it though, this is about power and control. Diddy has been in the game for decades, and he's managed to keep his empire intact despite all the scandals and accusations that have come his way. But this one might be too big to ignore, with more and more people speaking out. And with Nicki refusing to back down, it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
For now, though, it seems like Nicki is playing it safe. She's clearly aware that she's in a dangerous position, but she's not about to let anyone intimidate her into silence. In fact, the more people try to shut her up, the louder she gets. And if there's one thing we've learned about Nicki over the years, it's that she's not afraid to speak her mind, no matter the consequences. But here's the real question: how far will Diddy and Meek go to protect their reputations? And will Nicki finally reveal everything she knows, or will she be forced to keep quiet for her own safety? This drama is far from over, and it's shaping up to be one of the most explosive stories in the music industry in years. What do you think? Is Nicki in real danger, or is this just another case of hip-hop gossip spiraling out of control? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned for more updates. Because if this story has taught us anything, it's that things can change in an instant.